The August update for the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is by far the best firmware, and I do believe that Samsung should have released this firmware on day one. If you want to find out, guys, make sure to watch the full video, and now let's start. I'm now in a meeting with 17 guys and everything works flawless. I can see the screen sharing, I can go inside Telegram and still try to attach pictures, photos without having these annoying stutters. Everything much more flawless compared to the July update. And by the way, I have been using the One UI 5.1 August update now for already 5 days, guys. So if you want to see really how Samsung should have released the Galaxy S23 Ultra, well, please watch the full video. This is the August update. It comes with the AWGJ, and it's probably what really should have been released at day one. I am Valian from Valian Speaks Tech VST. Please, if you like videos like this, don't hesitate to sub, and now we'll start the full review. Let's start with the home screen, and the first thing I'm going to test is the screen rotation. Have in mind, I'm using the very highest level QHD resolution and of course 120 Hertz. Why the home screen? Because sometimes this animation here, just clicking on the settings, would get me crazy stutters on my S20, S21 and S22 devices, and of course also in the S23 Ultra, guys, while I was using some of the other updates. I can now say with a very high level of confidence that finally Samsung managed and mastered this. So right now the home screen navigation works quite nice. How do we know? If I go to the left, I'm able to access here my Google Feed. If I'm going to the right, I'm just able to go and of course scroll through all my screens. One swipe up will get me here all my applications. That's the search. So it all works quite nice and very fluid. And don't get me wrong, I never had a problem with the fluidity, right? Because it really worked quite nice from day one. The only problem I had is with consistency, which means that it would stutter once in a while, just driving me mad and crazy and regretting spending so much money on a flagship phone. This is how Samsung should have released the S23 Ultra. And if you want to find out more, guys, please keep watching. It's going to get really very interesting, as I'm going to put this phone through some tests and show you my real usage from almost a full week. The next thing I can show you is the notification animations. If I just swipe down, I'm gonna get here all my notification, all very fluid. I'm gonna try now to just kill some of them to the left, to the right, and of course also I'm gonna show you guys the quick toggles. One swipe down will get me to the quick toggles, allowing me to navigate. Here I have the device control, everything smart at my home. I'm able to now control it via SmartThings or via Google Home, so it all works. And what is even more important, guys, sometimes in previous update, this gesture here, this animation will stutter when you transition from the notifications to the quick settings. Right now, that's not the case. And I can now, again, with a high level of confidence, confirm that this really works the way it should work. And I'm going to clear now all my notifications. Next thing I want to show you guys is the recents menu. So I'm just going to boom, open the recents menu. I have a lot of applications, didn't really close them. All right, recents menu, not a problem at all. We can also try to engage with the recents menu here in this mode. It works well in the horizontal and also the vertical mode. No big issues whatsoever. All right, now we're gonna go to the more interesting part, which will involve folder opening, closing, and of course apps opening and closing. And again, guys, don't get me wrong, I'm just repeating this, but it really worked okay before. The problem is that if you do something like 10 times, right, it will stutter 3 times, which will result into 70% consistency. We need to have something more like 95 to 100%, right? Because this here is a flagship phone. This is why I believe that Samsung finally nailed it, and with the August update, I almost have no stutters. And now this is continuous use for more than 5 days. It's almost like a week, and I'm gonna show you, of course, everything else like the battery stats and the camera performance, guys. But first, some folder opening. As you can see, quite nice. All right, not a problem at all. I'm going to now close all my apps, guys, and perform a series of apps opening so that you can see how it works. So I'm going to open all my social apps, starting from Telegram. Okay, scrolling it, even if I go to the recents menu, you can just see, guys, I'm going to the recents menu and the animation will still be there, no lag whatsoever. I'm going to open now Messenger. I try to scroll down. I'm going to open Facebook, very quick, very fast, try to scroll down. I'm going to open my Viber, okay, and then I'm going to open also Instagram. Now, some of you wanted me to put a story. I'm going to do this, all right, probably not in the video. I'm going to put a story so that we're able to test the quality. This is Insta. If I go to the right, giving access to the camera, this is what we see. And yeah, I mean, well, it's not so bad, right? No status whatsoever. It's probably not so fluid like iOS fluid, guys, but when you open it, right, straight away from your home screen, it's going to be pretty much more or less okay. TikTok opening quite nice, and just trying to scroll to this application. I never get used to it, by the way, but okay, I'm just doing this for the test. Camera is here, opening and closing while I'm on the camera feed, and I'm going to repeat the same also for Insta, all right, because this then accesses the camera. And there is this interesting notion, guys, when we're operating on the home screen, we're using 120 hertz, right, a refresh, but then when you open the camera, it automatically drops to 60. This might explain why sometimes this doesn't seem so smooth. I'm not sure why Samsung is doing it. Probably they have their reasons to keep the viewfinder on 60 FPS. Nevertheless, I'm gonna open also X or Twitter and just trying to show really the scrolling is not that bad, all right, and it keeps scrolling. And of course I have Snapchat. Yeah, I even didn't log there, never use it anyway, just for the test. But right now apps opening and closing are more or less very fluid. Now I'm gonna move to the next section, which is widgets. Weather standard, all right, you can just see we didn't have a problem with widgets before, and opening and closing them is just a pleasure. I have here the new widgets, right, the new battery widgets straight out of iOS. I have here the very nice YouTube widgets. By the way, they work also quite nice. So if you don't really have the YouTube widgets, go put it there. You can directly go to your library, your home, your shorts and everything, your subscriptions. It's very easy. Okay, one more time, the weather widgets. As you can just see, guys, no major problems with operation, with navigation, and with opening and closing applications, which is just should be like the bread and butter of a normal smartphone. Really, that is a flagship. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, say yes in the comments down below. And now we're going to move to the next section. As you can see, I still have my apps and they're all open. Now the next section is to be able to test the pop-up window and also the split window. So that's the pop-up. All right, first pop-up is there. I'm going to then go to, let's say, Messenger. The second pop-up is there as well. Okay, now what we can do, guys, if I open this one and that one, I'm able to just click here and try to maximize them, right? So maximizing it, and this one I can just close. Now, what is interesting, guys, if I want to test the split screen, I can just go back to the recent menu, hold my finger here, put it there or there, let's put it there, and now let's choose something else. Let's choose this time the X. So I'm gonna have here like X on the above, and here down below I'm gonna have the Telegram all scrolling. And what I'm gonna try to do is switch the screens and try to just go and see how the transition from the split window to the full window up will work. Now, something interesting, I'm going to do the same, but let's say with Insta on the camera, just see if this is going to work. All right, so Insta, see, it's working right now. Try to do the same with TikTok. Okay, camera, TikTok. Now I have both applications with the camera, right, and it seems that they're working. Now, of course, the active one here is the TikTok, and if I'm to go back to the Instagram, this doesn't work. But have in mind, this is already like an overkill. The thing I wanted to prove here is if this will stutter or not, and as we have seen, it performs more or less very nice. Again, this should not be a compliment. This should be really straight out of the factory in your box the moment you buy the phone. Now let's open the camera and close it. So opening the camera and closing, trying to see if this will stutter. And just to be sure, we need to repeat it several times, right? Because again, even in the July update, if you do it 5 times, it might be perfect. But then when you do it 50 times, it will stutter. And yeah, you know how it goes. So far, I would say, yeah, it works quite nice. Now inside the camera, I can change it to the front camera, back camera, to the portrait mode, night, also to the video, and it will work quite nice. Now guys, there's something else that is very interesting. Here by default we have already the 2x, and this goes into a addition with a new feature in the camera assistant, which is titled the optical holy crop zoom. Now, although that's a feature from camera assistant, and I had this in the One UI 6 beta one I was testing, apparently the whole processing is only included in the August update. Of course, I did some tests and I can tell you guys, yes, it is a bit better, although not so noticeably. Now, this here is without this optical crop level zoom, this here is with it, and you might see that the edge detection is just a tiny bit better, right? Just a tiny bit better. 30x, guys, to the 100x, the optical zoom here combined with the hybrid zoom is really, I would say, one of the best I've seen. All the photos taken with this phone are still very nice and very sharp. The portrait shots are just crazy, and you can just see even the cutouts, right? The cutouts are almost perfect. Now, of course, you can always spot that this is a phone and of course a picture taken by a smartphone. But see here, guys, the boy is pouring the water and it all stopped in time. The only problem that I have is still with this phone is you cannot shoot moving people or pets with the stock mode, so you need to use the pro mode and just use different shutter speed. But the colors, just see the colors, guys. Everything here really rendered very nicely, very correctly. And although I know the night photos are not so stunning, there are really people again that will find issues with bending on the skies. I am more interested into the artistic feeling of the picture. This here is a 4K 60 FPS video that I've shot. The video is crystal clear. There's almost none jitter, right? And again, if you will shoot in night mode, they will be. HDR sometimes will not come right, but it's still probably one of the best video experience that I've seen in an Android phone. And we know kind of like the standard in mobile video recording comes with the iPhone. And of course, it would not have been a real test if I'm not using any benchmarks. So without any further ado, guys, I am just starting the Geekbench 6. After the benchmarks, please keep watching because I'm going to share with you 5 days battery usage and let you know what I think about the battery. Is the battery improved in this One UI 5.1 August update? It's kind of the same or is even worse? But first things first, as the benchmark. Alright, this is the results. I'm having here 39, almost 40 Celsius and an ambient temperature of 27. I would say this is not a bad result. The phone, by the way, is really almost not warm. So 39.9 is quite nice for a phone just out of a benchmark. But I will not stop here, guys. I'm gonna give you also the 3D mark. That's very important. Why? Because there is this very nice extreme wildlife stress test which will run for 20 rounds, and after this we're gonna be able to assess the stability. Alright, the extreme wildlife stress is finished at 45 Celsius and it's now time to see the results. 60% stability, what? 3,287 the highest and 2,000 almost the lowest loop score. It's not that bad given the fact that I just started directly after Geekbench, and I can just see here all the loops, the frame rates, the best and the worst loops, the battery that we've lost, and also the temperature, and of course the frame rate 9 to 27 FPS, maybe just one drop here. But overall, still after this benchmarking, now guys, what I'm gonna do now, my phone is still hot, right? So I'm gonna go inside the Telegram. I'm gonna try to attach some pictures, guys, because again, this has been some of the scenarios that really didn't work in the past. So every time I will do something like this, eventually my phone will start. So I'm gonna open Telegram again, I'm gonna open Messenger so that you can just see that I'm doing this directly here with you live in this video. When the phone is heated, it might eventually throttle, and that's kind of what we want to see. Scrolling Twitter, okay, going here. Let's check the memory allocations. This is what we have here for 1 day, so performance kind of normal. This is here total amount of memory and what is available. And guys, I promised that I will also show you the battery life, because that's of course one of the biggest questions, like, is the battery good? As you can see, guys, here I'm no longer learning my patterns, right? And I'm gonna show you guys today. I picked up the phone in the morning, so I have almost like 3 hours and still 30% of battery, but of course all these benchmarks and etc, they're killing the phone. Yesterday, guys, with some charging off and on, I was able to get 7 hours screen on time. Okay, that's not so fair, but this here, guys, was a real test. 5 hours screen on time, and then phone almost died. This one here is also a real test, so we can just see I can on average do something like between 4 to 6 hours screen on time with a mixed usage, and this is actually not that bad. So in a nutshell, this has been the most stable Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra ROM I have been using in the last month since actually the phone came out. And yeah, if you don't know how to get it, if you don't have it, probably wait. But if you want to get it today, watch the video that I uploaded yesterday. Change your CSC to THL. You'll probably lose nothing, and you're gonna get also native call recording and be able to enjoy this beautiful ROM. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Support the channel, stay safe, and see you very soon. VST over, and bye.